Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm here for the live to talk about mood swings and menopause. I'm going to give you probably 1 minute for everybody to tune in. You can see the background, you can see the door. Maybe someone will pop their head through there just to check that we're doing this. Awesome. I'm excited because this is a big topic that we've talked about a lot inside this group. And I want to make sure that you have, value and takeaway, and you can implement something, at least one thing from this live that's going to propel you into, let's say, better mood management and better menopausal health in general. So what we'll do is I'm just going to just say hi to anyone. Hey, Lynette, how are you? First on. So if you have never been on one of these lives before, hit number 2 because you are new. Would like to reach out to you. Make sure you're going okay. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Dorina. You're all on. Welcome. If you are watching live, obviously, like Jeanette's done, hit 5 because you give yourself a high 5 for being on time. If you are late watching this on replay, hit 8. And again, if you're new, hit 2. Talking about menopause and mood swings in general. So I think everybody is going to learn something new from this. We're going to go a bit into the biochemistry, but what you can really do to tackle mood swings and menopause. And this person says, hey. I think everyone's saying hey. So I'll take that off, and what we'll do is, we'll just have this kind of ticker. So if you're watching this on replay, normally we say just skip to that kind of 3-minute mark because we welcome everyone in, then we jump straight into it. So what I would like to know off the kind of rip, straight off the start, is who here suffers from mood swings? Whether they're mild, whether they're sort of a bit manic, a bit bonkers, just comment I in the comment box below, because I want to understand a bit about if people are tuning in for kind of just the general knowledge, or if people are really struggling with this in particular, and what percentage that is, whether it's a tremendous amount of our ladies in this group that are suffering from mood swings, or you're pretty balanced, but you're just really interested in this particular topic. So that's something I want us to go over. So just put I in the comments if it is something that you struggle with. Awesome. So I do see some eyes in there, some eyes here. I, and another one there. Fantastic. So it is something that you're struggling with. So you will get a lot of value from this. Now, again, if you do have any questions, pop them in the comment box below, and we can get to those at the end. But what I think we'll start with is everyone saying, hey, hi, everyone. Hey, hope you're having a fantastic midweek. It's Wednesday evening here in Europe, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome. Because today, the mood swings is really very relevant, I feel, especially when you see the group, what's going on inside the group. So this is Viola. This is hi, Viola. Yeah, hey. Hey, Dorina, how you going? So it's very relevant, this particular topic, and I guarantee that you're going to learn something new. So I'm going to ask you at the end what you've learned and just one takeaway from this. There's going to be plenty, whether it's understanding what it is, what's driving the mood swings and what you can do about it, or whether it's or whether it's a biochemistry of the kind of the mood swing. So what we'll do is we'll kind of get into it, because I think that a lot of people don't understand, firstly, hey, what even is a mood swing? We need to identify that before we can address it. And a mood swing, if you look in the Oxford Dictionary, it's really a temporary state of mind or a feeling, right? It's literally a transient frame of mind that influences the way that we see the world. Now, it's something that can cause happiness. It causes us to feel sadness, anger, or even some other emotion, jealousy and stuff like that. And in a way, it's separate from our underlying state of mind. Because if you wake up feeling good, it's because maybe you've slept well, right? Maybe you got a good 8 hours, which is something rare in menopause. But like you've got maybe an exciting plan for the day, maybe not in lockdown, but like you might feel that you started the day off positive, and then you suddenly your feelings change. Now that can be when you walk into the shower, you stub your toe and you're like, fuck. Or you find you're out of toothpaste, right? And this bad mood is probably going to obviously pass, as well as stubbing the toe. It's going to pass with that kind of initial pain. Or whether you go to the shop and quickly buy a new tube of toothpaste. but and the underlying state of mind is eventually going to reassert itself. Now, on the other hand, you might be feeling sad or stressed because of the events in your life. Lockdown is stressful, especially on our mental side. Now, hearing your favorite music, hearing an uplifting piece of music or a friendly voice on the phone is going to cheer you up for a small amount of time, but it hasn't changed anything materially, right? But somehow it's put you in a better mood, right? How does this work? Right? It's really the brain is interpreting these events. It's governing our responses, and the event might be an external thing, right? And the easiest thing that I can think of is the sun. When the sun comes out and you're out there, it's exciting, isn't it? It's like the light and the warmth hits our skin and makes us feel cheerful. There is another one. It's internal, right? And that is generally whether it's a pain or a somewhat chemically driven. And the brain detects this event, whether it's nutritional, whether it's a stress response from an outside world. It's going to alter our physiology in the most advantageous way that it sees. And at least, well, that's how our body's supposed to work, right? It's working for us, surely. Now, when we look at the brain, we've got buried deep inside the brain is the limbic system, and it's thought to be it's considered the most oldest part of the brain, the primitive part of the brain, and it's made up of so many structures: hippocampus, the amygdala, and the hypothalamus. And all of these kind of three little parts of the brain are involved in emotions in some way or another. Now, these types of structures that are found in the brain of many other species, reptilian species even, and of course mammalian. But when you think of what we think of our moods and emotions, they represent our body's response to our environment. Now, these reactions come about by so many different inputs: our senses, our memories, our neurotransmitters, which I have tattooed on my arm. But the chemical messengers of the nervous system, basically, these neurotransmitters. And these are kind of speaking, they're conveying messages to the limbic system and from the limbic system to the rest of the body. So waking up on that sunny day sends messages from the eyes. You see the light ray, the photon hit your eye, and that goes through the visual cortex, and the part of the brain that processes those images may trigger a memory, which tells us, hey, conditions, and this is ancestrally speaking, hardwired into us, tells us that, hey, conditions are good for hunting or gathering food. And obviously in the more modern situation, it might be more of a memory of going to the beach, doing the gardening, something you might enjoy, green fingers, or just a feeling that warmth of the sun, which obviously impacts the positively on another part of our brain and our physiology, which is another story. I'll get to that maybe in a different live. But the fact is, our brain through our memories makes these positive associations, and it sends out messages using neurotransmitters, and it makes us feel energized. It makes us feel positive. Now, the right frame of mind for getting on with the tasks is that positive frame of mind. If on the other hand, there's a sudden, sudden events that are going to trigger particular memories that maybe, let's say, that we need to act instantly. We need to act immediately for our safety, right? Things that we might recognize, or our body does, recognizes as urgent or dangerous. Now, in this case, the brain is going to send out an entirely different combination of neurotransmitters, setting up what is known as a fight or flight response. A lot of people have heard of this. Your heart rate goes through the roof. You divert blood to your muscles so you can escape, right? For drastic action in case you need to run away from a particular predator. And this is a stress response. Body just wants to survive. Now, these systems, they operate regardless of the source of the stimulus. And so if we watch a sad film, it gives us a feeling of sadness, despite the fact that nothing has actually happened to us. We're watching a video, we're getting emotional. We react to what we see, what we feel, what we hear, usually before we've got a chance to rationalize it. And that's kind of the frontal cortex of the brain. It's a more modern version that reptiles don't have. So fortunately, unlike other species, we've got a brain that we've got brain centers that kind of can plan long term. They prevent us from acting completely on messages from our limbic system. So as a result of this, we do not beat the person up who pushes in front of us in the supermarket queue with our umbrella or something like that, or baguette on hand, because they're getting in between us and the source of food. No, we've got a brain. We've got a higher brain that kind of exercises this restraint, because they're not. You'd think logically they're not really challenging our survival. Now, based on our knowledge of the potential consequences in our way, if we do give way and we hit somebody with that baguette, obviously it could be something like prison time. We could get hurt ourselves. They could throw an equally big tin of Quality Street back at us. But effectively, what I'm trying to say is not all of our moods have that external source. We have a brain, having understood that our brain does regulate our moods, it is important to understand that the brain can also create them. Now, anybody here, and I'd like to hear your experience, anybody here has experienced a spontaneous panic attack? If you have, just comment panic in the comment box below. Anybody who has experienced that is going to tell you that their feelings are intense, as if they were generally under threat, as if they were kind of like about to get eaten by a lion. They're just like, right? And in reality, then they're not really under threat. It's just a change in the brain chemistry. Of course, we want to know what changes in our brain chemistry for this to happen. Well, outside of real events, things like the literal, we're on the plains, and the lion is coming up to us, and we're like, holy bugger, what am I going to do now? Obviously, we've got to fight or flight, we've got to escape. Outside of the real event, a panic attack often can happen when out of the blue, to be honest. The factors that there are factors that affect our physiology and our brain chemistry, resulting in these kind of aggressive, these mood changes. Now, I'm going to get to what we need to be doing about it, but sleep is drastically affected in menopause, and sleep is vital for maintenance of our systems. Insufficient sleep does what? It alters our brain chemistry, and it will lead to us feeling in, let's say, low mood. Or it will lead us to have an increased susceptibility to feelings of anger or irritability. All right, you can forget about your libido when you're having 3 hours sleep, because it thinks of nothing else. It doesn't think of procreation, doesn't think of anything about setting goals, about losing weight. It thinks, I just want to survive. So you get angry, you get irritable, and these changes in chemistry, they induce mood changes. And they actually lower our trigger for certain types of moods. We've got a trigger threshold, and it lowers it. And I'll give you an example, right? Low blood sugar is also linked with feelings of irritability and anxiety. So the reason that we tell people who are suffering from anxiety not to fast in the morning, because it's dropping your blood sugar level low. And we don't want you feeling irritable, anxious. We want to set you up for your day so that any feelings of anxiety, irritability are gone, and your mood is managed. There's so many mood changes that we associate with different hormonal states, and I do want to get into that. Like if you're perimenopausal and menopausal, actually, you may have experienced, or you definitely know somebody, even if it's in this group, that have described feelings of sudden anxiety or being overwhelmed. Now, I actually spoke to somebody today, tearful for no reason on the phone, and obviously in some more extreme circumstances, there's the report of feelings of depression. Some feel rage. Put rage in the comment if you feel rage for no reason. Your partner's just said hello to you funny or something. Or maybe he's done something like bit his nails or like sniffed his nose or something like that, or the kids come back to the house and they've left their underwear on the floor or something like that. It's not really a rage-worthy thing, but the reason is, estrogen. Estrogen's linked with the production of serotonin. Now, serotonin is one of the neurotransmitters involved with our regulation of emotions and our moods. If you have low serotonin, it is associated with low mood, confusion, And high serotonin is associated with happiness and an increased ability to kind of carry out particularly complex tasks. All right. If you find somewhere in the middle, you have calm, you have balance. Now, if you go to the extremes and you go very high serotonin, then you can kind of, it's like a feeling of sedation. And in some, like, if you go to the extreme of very, very low, then there are some kind of psychiatric conditions that can be pretty debilitating with that. Now, what's there to learn from that? Well, clearly, it's the regulation of serotonin is essential for our emotional health. We talk a lot about health and fitness. We obviously, we have inside the MYM Club, we have a particular focus on nutrition, but we talk about the emotional health. We talk about the food psychology because it forms so many different pillars of our life that we need to address to make sure that we master your menopause. And like there's types of medication that are used for the treatment of certain things, whether it's depression, whether it's for example, it's an SSRI, right? Because that has the effect of kind of maintaining the levels of serotonin in the blood. And what happens in menopause, perimenopause especially, it's fluctuating, but estrogen slows down the rate, right? Well, for a start, estrogen's dropping, but estrogen does slow down the rate at which serotonin is taken out of the bloodstream. And it also increases the sensitivity of the brain to serotonin by increasing the number of serotonin receptors in the brain cells. So during perimenopause, levels of estrogen are going to go. They're very, very. It's literally the roller coaster. It's an estrogenic roller coaster, and they're rising, they're dropping. So when estrogen levels rise, so do the serotonin levels. When it crashes, our serotonin levels do the same. And most of us in this group, and you would know from experience, familiar with the effects that these type of changes have, right? And they are the ones responsible for the emotional changes that many of you experience. For example, just for a period, if you're perimenopausal, like even before, right? As estrogen levels drop dramatically, although it's temporary when you're kind of menstruating, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel there's going to be more cravings. There's going to be you're going to be a bit more touchy. You're going to be a bit more sensitive to some things. You might cry for no reason. Now, if you look at it throughout perimenopause and menopause and beyond, that you might be experiencing the equivalent of kind of random PMT. So serotonin is not the only neurotransmitter involved in estrogen-related mood swings. It's simply obviously linked with estrogen because estrogen slows down the rate at which dopamine and norepinephrine are also absorbed. Now, dopamine is a really interesting one. I love that. Dopamine is involved in regulating our mood. I have this one on my arm because I believe it's the happiness hormone. It's also involved in kind of our reward, pleasure, our feelings of reward and pleasure. Now, if you have low levels of that, it can lead to depressive moods. If you have high levels of dopamine, it can lead to aggression, irritability, impulsivity, and obviously in crazy, maybe 1% of the population, a bit of psychosis, right? It's a bit strange. So high levels of estrogen, right? They keep dopamine levels too high. And that can be anxious. That can be aggression. And for some women, obviously PMT. But when estrogen levels are at their highest, just before they plummet at the end of your kind of menstruation cycle, this is often when you can feel this. The dopamine's high. You can be quite aggressive. You also have norepinephrine, which is the fight and flight response. Okay, remember we talked about the lion, right? That increases, obviously, alertness and energy because, like at high levels, what happens to that? We've got this lion coming in. We have high levels of norepinephrine going through our body. It's adrenaline. It's pumping our heart. Our heart rate's through the roof. It produces stress. It produces potential anxiety, especially if this happens often. Now, when we break it down too fast and we're left without energy, right? Because maybe there isn't a lion in the room and maybe somebody just spoke to you a bit strange, you're left without the energy, right? You haven't dissipated that energy, and you kind of relinquishing your ability to respond to that stressful situation. Over time, if this is consistent, the levels build up. You develop anxiety. Now, estrogen is linked again with norepinephrine. It regulates that levels of norepinephrine through the same mechanism as dopamine. So during perimenopause, especially, that impact of changing estrogen levels on serotonin, dopamine, on norepinephrine are going to result in this for your moods. They fluctuate from depression or low mood to rage. Now, depression is obviously more of a chronic condition than low mood, but of course it's extreme. But it happens. You've seen it so many times in this group. Now, many of you are going to survive going through perimenopause and menopause with just the occasional anxiety or let's say depressive episodes. And some of you might even not notice a difference, but some of you are. So what can we do about mood swings? I think number one, it has to be exercise, right? Exercise is the single-handedly the biggest great mood enhancer we have. Not only does it release endorphins, which is another group of neurotransmitters that give us that kind of natural buzz, that natural high, but it also raises the levels of dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin, which we talked about. So if your dipping estrogen levels are getting you down, exercise is going to be one way you can readdress the balance, bump it up. Right? Any form of exercise, a walk, a vigorous walk, a slight jog, climbing a flight of stairs at work is going to help. It might be the last thing that you feel like doing when you're in a low mood. But I promise you, it is the quickest way, instant way to correct your rebellious physiology when going through menopause. Most of us, and I promise you, this is not extended just to me, this group. You see it in this group. Most of us would not hesitate to take a pill, side effects and all, if it's going to make us feel instantly better. You see it in this group. What can I do? What can I take for this instead of what can I do for that? Exercise. You can do exactly that. And the side effects are all good. There is nothing bad about exercise, right? If your mood has swung into an angry phase, the increased levels of serotonin brought about by exercise are going to calm you. They're going to burn off that surplus energy of outrage. All right? Think of everyone going, oh, I just need to work it off. I'm angry. I need to work it off. It bloody works, right? Some people find it easier to take exercise in an organized form. Of course, you don't have to join a class or anything. There's plenty of, whether it's meditation, whether it's online courses, whether it's you get coached through us and you do it through us, or you go through YouTube and use some self-help videos, right? There's plenty. It could be joining getting involved on a Zoom class. It might be exactly what you need. We're all different, but just exercise. I promise you, that's going to be the step. Whether it's a walk, when you're feeling this, it's going to be the biggest step. It's going to help you better than any SSRI, any sort of Prozac or anything is going to help you. The next step is diet. We all know you need to eat a healthy diet. We know that. But the things I think you should limit if you're really struggling with this. And I never say cut things out because I absolutely hate the idea of dietary restriction. I hate it. I think it develops a food neurosis. It develops a poor relationship with food. But some things, if you're really struggling with mood swings, I think you should attack these things. I think you need to go a bit easier on the caffeine. I think you need to go a bit easier on the sugar, and you need to go a bit easier on the alcohol. All of these things are going to have effects directly on mood, directly on your mood. Well, and importantly, they will indirectly affect your neurotransmitters, which is regulating your mood. So if you eat a healthy diet, everyone knows what a healthy diet is. Generally, we speak low in processed foods. I say low in processed foods because we don't want to cut them out. Some of the best foods are really like salami or like a cheese platter with some serrano ham or something. All right. Generally, diet low in processed foods, salt and sugar. We know this, but we don't need to cut it out. These are going to improve your energy levels. They're going to improve your general state of your health, for a start, which is going to put you in a better state to deal with your mood swings. Diet, of course, is important in helping you control or even reduce your weight. right? But how does this help with mood, Dean? Well, basically, if you we discussed this, we touched on this inside the MWM Club today. We talked about low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is basically a tendency. It's pretty rife in menopause. It has a tendency to creep in, and even if you've never experienced this in your life, right? And as a kind of a manifestation of low mood, it has a symptom of I think everybody would experience this about the aging, but it's a symptom of your concerns about aging, right? And you're kind of concerned about middle age, you're shedding that surplus pounds, maybe. They're going to help with the aging process. But I think these sort of low self-esteem, this is basically a topic that we're talking about inside the MWM Club, is something we need to address. Now, obviously, exercise and diet is going to help with addressing that too. There's a lot of mental work to go into that. But I think as you lose weight, as you exercise, it's coming with mood-enhancing benefits. It comes easier. It gets easier. It gets easier. I'll give you a few other tips. You can go for complex carbohydrates, whole grain breads. Nothing wrong with breads. There's nothing wrong with cereals. Might be at the time that you're having them at that you're having issues with cereals. They're going to raise your serotonin levels. They're going to help you potentially reduce depression. And they're going to definitely help you reduce your low moods. Omega-3 fatty acids. You need to look at your salmon, tuna, walnuts, almonds, flax seeds. They're all rich in what we say EFAs, essential fatty acids. If you're looking at protein, if you're a vegetarian or vegan rather, then you need to look at nuts. If you're omnivorous and you eat meat, chicken, cheese, eggs, fantastic sources of protein. Fantastic. All right. Of course, we need to place a limit on the consumption of our processed and our red meats and stuff because they contain a high amount of saturated fats, and that kind of, if we have saturated fats are important. Too many saturated fats decreases our body's ability to metabolize estrogen. Now, you don't have much estrogen in your body right now. If you're perimenopausal, you have a bit more than if you're menopausal, where it's a bit more stabilized. But it's something we want to be cognizant of. We don't want to go on keto and have all these saturated fats. We need fats, but we don't need a plethora of saturated fats. We need omega-3, 6, and 9. Look at sugars. We don't want to eat excessive amounts of sugar because it's going to impair our immune system. And that is going to limit the liver. It's going to limit the functioning of the liver, which is metabolizing estrogen. If we look at caffeine, we don't avoid caffeine entirely. We definitely consume it in moderation because it's bloody delicious. But that obviously can bring on kind of anxiolytic attacks, like anxiety episodes. If we look at fast food, one thing wrong with fast food, trans fats. They literally have zero nutritional value, trans fats. They have zero nutritional value. They clog up our arteries. Overconsumption is going to lead to weight gain, hormone imbalance, and not to mention the salt and sugar that come along with the fast food. I don't think that we should avoid fast food altogether. I don't think we should be cutting out anything, maybe trans fats. But I think that there needs to be a more balanced approach. Now, people will be asking, medication, what about medication? Of course, HRT is something that's bandied around. Now, of course, HRT, literally hormone replacement therapy, it restores your hormone balance. It may eliminate mood swings. And it is important that you do find the right preparation and dose before getting this wrong. It seriously alter your moods that you're experiencing and could not eliminate the mood swings from one state to another. It could put you into a permanent state of aggression. And I think that people should attack their lifestyle stuff first before they consider pharmaceuticals or any sort of drugs. Like, obviously, we wouldn't be talking about mood swings if we didn't talk about antidepressants. I touched on it a bit earlier. There's particular types of antidepressants like Prozac. They're going to help with maybe some symptoms of menopause, but they're not a great idea when it comes to mood swings, nor are the specific types of tranquilizers. Like, depression is a more of a complex thing that we need to address maybe on a later live, because that's a chronic state. But mood swings, by definition, mean that your emotions aren't constant. Generally, depression is kind of a constant chronic state, but mood swings are kind of like woo 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 woo. So there is no form at the moment that the pharmaceutical industry has in which you can take serotonin directly by mouth. Serotonin simply can't cross the blood-brain barrier. But you can take things like 5-HTP, which is 5-hydroxytryptophan, and our body converts that into serotonin. And there is some evidence that taking 5-HTP through orally, through the mouth, does raise your serotonin levels. So it could help control mood swings a bit. 5-HTP is a good product. Obviously, consider where you're getting the source from, because there's going to be so many different brands out there. But I do think that you attack the exercise and the dietary component, your mood swings are going to change your life. Now, this is something that we do inside the MYM Club. So if you want to find out more about what we do inside the MYM Club and you want to arrange a chat, just comment me in the comment box below and we'll reach out, jump on the phone, see what you're struggling with, see if we can help you. I do believe that 95% of weight loss, menopausal symptoms can be tackled with lifestyle changes that we implement. I do want to touch a bit more on dietary supplements, because I think there are a few number of supplements that claim to help with mood swings, and some of them do have an impact on menopausal symptoms, like the St. John's wort. I think that might have some impact on hot flushes, but I don't think. I think the main thing that you would take St. John's wort is if you are suffering from depression. I think it's a good adjunct. Chat to your doctor, of course. I am not a psychiatrist. I am not a GP. I do not want to recommend any medication, but it's something that you can go to the GP and say, hey, I've been considering this. I've done my research, and I really recommend you do your research if you are going to take any sort of pharmaceuticals, or if you are going to take any sort of supplements, consult your physician, because there's a lag period. There's some time before the effects can be felt, and if it interferes with a number of other medications, it's important to consult your doctor before trying. Of course, everyone knows about ginseng. It's one of the most medicinal herbs. A lot of different types, slightly different components to that, but I think that there's too much conflicting stuff on that. Like, it's some positive, some negative. It's very confusing. But I think that I don't think it has any, with regards to mood swings, I don't think it has any impact on menopausal mood swings in our experience. I think that the problem is if you don't know how to analyze studies, data, that's what we do. We identify the bias in the data, and we want to give you truth. We want to give you stuff that is going to work for you, so you're not wasting money on particular supplements that is going to serve you no purpose. So what I'm going to do is, I think I've kept you half an hour. I'm going to have another look at at some of the comments. Just have a look at this. Move the hair over, the lockdown hair. Let's have a look. Oh, there's a lot. I love that. Sorry, I was outside clapping, but here now. Is that for the NHS or is that for something else? Panic makes me snappy, low, and it's better if I don't talk to anybody. Rage, rage, rage. Up to 60. Not so much now, but used to get anxious with heart palpitations and tearful. Jane, do you get heart palpitations now? Interested to know that. Yeah, that's me. Anxiety increased, heartbeat every day. Heart increased your heartbeat every day. I rage. I try and bite my tongue, I say, and scream at all my head, but sometimes I can't do this and I explode. Yeah, definitely. I think that you need to, inside the MWM Club, we have our 6 non-negotiables. So you need to implement stuff that's going to offset this mood. One of them is exercise, nutrition. Some other stuff is going to be your calm at the beginning of the day or end of the day. Life is a roller coaster. I have this tattooed on my arm to remind me ups and downs are okay. Sertraline helps keep me on that line. Are you doing any lifestyle stuff? I'm not too sure what that is. It just says Facebook users. Are you doing any lifestyle stuff to combat that? Because that's really important. Lynn says, exercise definitely helped for my mood. It's a game changer. Whether it's a fast-paced walk, doesn't matter. When in perimenopause, I had bad rage, lash out, sometimes punch myself. Yeah, that's perimenopause is rife with fluctuating estrogen. So you'll have these kind of dips in this mood swing. So it's really important that you, obviously you're not in peri now, but it was really important that you kind of address the lifestyle stuff so that you can kind of balance that sort of serotonin production, balance those serotonin levels with exercise and the lifestyle stuff. Look at this. My mood was rubbish this morning, forced myself out, did a 9.5 kilometer walk. Fantastic, Dorina. Came home tired, but happier, and my migraine has gone. That's just fantastic. Look at that. Like, there's going to be days, and you will experience these more than I will. There's going to be days because your hormones are all over the place. There's going to be days when you can have low days. This is why inside the MYM Club, we talk about 6 non-negotiables, our daily practices that we need to do to make sure that come Monday, there's some fantastic weight loss, or come Monday, if we hit that goal, we are maintaining our weight and we're striving to our next goal, whether that's a performance-based goal. Because our non-negotiables are really easy. Have we hit our non-negotiables for the day? Perfect. That means Monday is going to be a fantastic weigh-in. I love my caffeine. My nickname is Caffeine Girl. I will try reducing that. I mean, if you're suffering bad with mood swings, definitely something to monitor. Let's say definitely reduce. I don't think cut it out, because I think caffeine. I absolutely love coffee. It's the I think this. I always used to say nectar of the gods. Dorina, well done to you for forcing yourself to do it and getting rid of your migraine. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's hard being menopausal and diabetic. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, but yes. Please answer me this. Have you got type 2 diabetes or type 1? Dorina, just thanking them. 7 to 11 breathing or 5-7 breathing techniques help reduce anxiety. But yeah, we teach 4 to 8 for anxiety, and I talk about that in the YouTube videos that we have, which is, if you haven't seen that before, it's 5. It's a hot flushes video that we talk about 5 tips to get rid of hot flushes. One of them is obviously talking about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, how we can control that with our breathing. Started taking maca root to lift moods before I joined MYM, but honestly, since joining, I haven't needed it. That's amazing, Dorina. And that's because of obviously what we teach you with the daily tasks, but it's your implementation. That's the game changer, Dorina. You are implementing what we tell you that you need to do, and you've been absolutely incredible. I absolutely love seeing that. Jane Harton, nope. Matcha has helped with my moods, weirdly. Thank you for the good advice. You're more than welcome. You're welcome. We do this every Wednesday, by the way. That is 6 p.m. UK time. Neither type 1 or type genetic. Oh, yeah, sorry. That's going to be Donna. Because I've already spoken to you about that. I will look for that YouTube video. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm happy because I feel so much more in control. That's it. You're in control, and that's the best thing. You are mastering your menopause. You are in control. I love that. Addressing lifestyle is a game changer. Love that. I promise you, it will change your life. Now, I'm gonna finish there. We've been 40 minutes. 40 minutes. It didn't feel like that for sure. If you have any questions, you want to find out more about the MYM Club, comment me in the comment box below. Myself or Viola are going to reach out to you in the next 24 hours. I'm looking forward to the next live already. I'm really, really excited to see this. Again, if you've watched this on live, hit 5. If you've watched this on replay, hit 8, because just so I know that what times kind of people are watching this. And if you're new, hit 2 and we'll reach out to you and see how you're going, see what kind of help you need. Awesome. I want to thank you so much. I really appreciate I just appreciate you tuning in. It means a lot to me that you want to put yourself first, you want to put your health first, and you want to master your menopause. So if you want to find out more about the MYM Club, comment me below, see how we can help you. We'll jump on the phone for a quick 15-minute call to see if we can. If we can, then we can chat further about what it looks like to be a part of the MYM Club. Any questions, drop them in the comment box below. We'll be checking this out a bit later on tomorrow morning. And, well, have a fantastic evening. Speak to you soon.